Hello there, and welcome to Star Wars Alliance podcast. And today we are reviewing the new episode of Star Wars Rebels from Season 2 called what, Nick?
This episode is called Brothers of the Broken Horn, I believe.
Yes, Brothers of the Broken Horn. So, tell me, Nick, what do you think of this episode?
Well, I thought it was a really good episode because, Hondo just saved the episode.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
because, this episode at the start is getting a little bit boring because, we'll talk about that in our review, why we thought it was boring. So, anyway, before we start, I want to give a warning here. This review will contain spoilers for this episode, so I'm assuming most of you guys have already seen it. So, and if you're not, oh well, it's your own benefit for watching our review.
Yes. Alright, so with our first screen cap here, we get Ezra with his blaster training with Rex, and then Kanan comes in, of course, saying, okay, that's enough blaster training, you should do lightsaber training, and there's a little conflict between the two, Rex and
And
Kanan.
Ken. So what I really liked about the scene was because Ezra's still filling his purpose as a Jedi, a role as a Jedi, and
Mm-hmm.
and Rex trying to you know, try and train him for blaster training, and he can't deal with this, like and then he goes off on his own mission. So this is what I really liked about the scene, that how Ezra said, uh, you know, as I forgot what I said, but this is really great about a clone and a Jedi. They have difference. One has
Different,
difference between the area. So, Rex's point of view is that, he fought in the Clone Wars, so did Kanan, but Kanan was only a Padawan back then. And, Rex has probably most experienced
yeah.
in, fighting. So, yeah.
I mean, there's different points of view, though, here,
Yeah.
I mean, of course, Rex will know more about ground battle and about real big battles. Kanan will basically know about strategy with a lightsaber of the Force of defense. Remember, Jedi always use their power for
Yeah.
defense, not for attack. But basically, though, too, this raises a good question: how, like, Ezra's judging off this, how he might not want to be a Jedi anymore, maybe. So it might maybe hint to the dark side a bit. But basically, after this, we learn that they have to get power generators for
The
the
part.
Rebel Alliance.
Yeah. So, basically, the crew goes off on their own mission and leaves Ezra behind.
Yeah,
Basically, that's what I did not like about this episode. I knew as well, uh,
really.
because you know, they're treating Ezra like a kid, in my own
Yeah.
opinion. I mean, he's old enough. Was he like 16 or 17, maybe?
No, no, he's 15, and here's the thing too. Sabine is 16. He's
Oh,
15. And it's like, yeah, but you're totally right though. They are treating him like a kid, where they should be doing that too to Sabine a little bit as well. So I wish they make Ezra maybe a little bit more mature, maybe, or at least the crew treat him more maturely. Which during the end of this episode, which made me love this more. But we'll
yeah.
get to that later.
So anyway, afterwards, Ezra and Chopper go off in the Phantom to help for Sargo, which
Hmm.
was the person who we see in season one. Ezra was trying to get his communication from him, and there was no response at all. Then Ezra, boards the ship, and the only person who he finds on board was Hondo.
Yes, Hondo was upon the ship. Now, we learn from Hondo that he won the ship and had all of the accessories and whatnot from a bad, poker hand game from Fasago. But we learn later that was a lie. But basically, though, Ezra lies too and says he's Lando Calrissian, which makes Hondo a little bit more happy that he finally gets to meet the almighty. Well, I don't.
Smuggler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Glare. And I really love this too. This is maybe hinting we may see more Lando episodes, or maybe Han as well.
Yeah, maybe. But basically though, we get to see Hondo here. Now, I still don't love his design so much. I think there was a lot more detail of his character, of his face in the Clone Wars. But they still write him very well here. He's written real good. That makes me actually am okay with the costume. And also too, like I said, what saves this episode from being a super filler skip it episode is Hondo himself
Yeah.
and the reactions between him and Ezra.
Ezra, yeah. So Hondo just brings out the funniest things ever. He just, the first thing that pops into his mind is I forgot the first thing. He's on a mission to try and steal power generators as well, or try and
Well, he has power generators. He wants to. Well, that is not his. Basically,
yeah.
it's for Salgo's. But basically, though, he wants to trade them to. I forgot the Finn's name here. But basically, he wants to trade them to get money. Ezra offers to help out, of course, but he wants half of the power generators and half the cut of the money deal. And of course, Hondo agrees to this, and he takes up a liking to Ezra. And for this whole episode too, I don't think he never really betrays Ezra once,
I
besides
know,
stealing
right?
his ship.
Yeah, because in the Clone Wars, he kind of like betrayed Anakin and also Obi-Wan. Like,
Obi-Wan and yeah,
yeah, because what I liked about Hondo was, he's like the pirate of a kind, if you know what I'm saying. So,
yes. But yeah, he betrayed Obi-Wan, but then after that, they became friends. What he thinks they became friends, and
yeah.
he does address this too in this episode, which was very nice, I think.
So maybe we may get an Obi-Wan episode, maybe like a hologram of Obi-Wan again, like what we saw in the very first
Yeah,
episode of Star Wars Rebels.
that would be cool. I would definitely would love that. So basically, though, Ezra helps out and goes with Hondo to deliver the crates. Now, Chopper stays behind, of course, and waits for Ezra and Hondo to return. But something happens, and they get basically trapped and
Captured.
captured by this guy here who wanted Farsago and not
Not
Hondo.
Hondo. So yeah. Then after that, Ennis returns on his communicator saying we may need a little help, and then Chopper just comes
Hmm.
flying in. He brings the other crates, and this is what I really liked about Chopper about this episode. I think Chopper's getting a wee bit more comedy as a droid to
Oh yeah, I
in
mean
Rebels.
he's supposed to be the comedy relief through this whole series, like how Jar Jar was the comical relief, how C-3PO and R2-D2 was a comical relief character, basically. So Chopper is basically like that again, and he's done very well. This was a very good action-packed scene.
Yeah,
He says kill.
he just like picks up the blasters and just starts firing everywhere.
Yeah, and this guy here, he says, kill Hondo and kill this brat that I knew who screwed up and tried to kill me, or well, not trying to kill him, but basically, screwed up his whole operation during with Lando on
Lafal.
the fall. And I really did like too at the end of the thing too, where Ezra reveals himself that he is a Jedi to Hondo by saving him with the Force, and of course we get a funny line that Hondo is witch and whatnot. And there's lots of funny stuff in this episode too, especially too with the whole wife thing with him, that wife joke, which maybe passed the Disney censors or whatnot, but yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, and plus too, and that's about when Hondo says, "I used to have a Jedi as a best friend once. I think he was my best friend."
Yeah, and that's relating to Obi-Wan. So basically, this was a very good action scene. I really did like it a lot. And of course, they could keep off the generators. So basically, now they come back to celebrate and whatnot and all of that until Ezra. Ezra walks around a bit, and then he hears a noise. He opens the door and finds, Fasago in a cage.
Yeah, and we found out that it was Hondo who locked him up in
Hmm.
there, and Chopper freed him, and then go back to bridge,
Yeah,
uh, and that's when the whole thing kind of kicks off.
yeah, but I want to talk about this very quickly because I think they really screwed up here. It's like, oh, how are we going to do this whole Ezra has to pay back for Sago thing? We're going to build this thing up, baby. And then in this episode, they went, fuck it. We're just going to shit out like a turd, wrap it up, and just throw it out there. We don't care. And I wish they put more effort into this. I mean, yeah, we could have Hondo, cool, but Hondo could have been in our episode, and Farsago could have been in a more important episode, I feel like. Something that might change Ezra's life, maybe, or get him in bigger trouble that actually has consequence. With this, it's like, oh, open a gate. There's my trade. There's my, payback. Not payback, but repayment. It's like, why? I wish they put more thought into it.
Me too. I mean, I think Hondo just saved the episode, like overall, as I said at the beginning.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if Hondo was not in here, um, then I don't know what the heck this episode would have been
Yeah,
because it's
I
basically.
I think it would just be like a crappy like standalone episode.
Oh yeah, I agree. I agree. It's like if it was like any other character besides Hondo was in this episode, then yeah, it would be a real shitty episode. I would have just given a 3 out of 10,
Me,
and I would have said skip it. But because Hondo's here and how well they written Hondo with Ezra, I should say, because Ezra was very good in this episode as well, that's what saves it for me. But
yeah,
what brings it down a notch is how they quickly just won over
yeah,
this
it's like
and all
wrapped it
that.
up. Yeah, like wrapped it
Yeah,
up. Because as we all know in season one, Sargo helped Ezra to find Kanan, and then Ezra had to repay him back. And it was just like a wee scam what they just done.
yeah. I wish they put more effort into it. Like I said, I think Dave Filoni knows how to write. And I know he knows how to write characters. It's been proven with Hondo, X, and all of that. So I just feel like though they just want to rush and get this out there, just so then they can get to other stuff later on. But that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed. I
Yeah,
mean, for God's sakes, you have more episodes during the season, so you can give us that time. You're not on this 13 13 or 14 episode limit anymore, because I've heard that this season is supposed to be more than 13 to 14 episodes. So come on.
So yeah, afterwards, Hondo steals the Phantom, goes back to Lothal, and then he ends up with the Ghost Crew
Yes, but after we get a little struggle between Ezra, Farsago,
and Hondo.
and Hondo, and Farsago, of course, betraying Ezra and attacking him too. And basically, he goes into escape pod with Chopper, and Farsago makes a fine line and shoots him out. And they follow basically Hondo back to the Ghost.
Yeah, and Hondo at the end was so pleased of Ezra, and
Oh yeah, I mean, he was telling how cool he was to people that he doesn't even know. I mean, that's just the funny thing about the end of this episode. It's like the whole crew is just listening to this guy bragging on, and they're not like having him in handcuffs or anything like that, talking about Ezra, Ezra, Ezra. He comes back and whatnot, of course, and he's giving more praise to Ezra. And
and
when he,
then Hera goes to Rex, report this to Commander Sato, is it?
yeah,
So, and that's how the episode basically ends. Hondo
now,
walks off
mm-hmm,
from the Ghost Crew, and Ezra says, "I used to be like that, alone."
yeah. But there's more stuff too besides that I really like about this ending of this episode, that which makes this much more higher up on a ranking list, is how they treated Ezra. Because they could have easily done the whole, um, oh Ezra, how dare you? You're in big trouble now, or have you learned your lesson, Ezra? Oh yeah, no, no, no. Hera says, Ezra's the one who found the generators. Kanan basically supporting Ezra and said, "Oh, you went on the trip. Cool. Hope you learned something." Or something that's close to that without actually saying it in a belittling way.
If,
Because
if,
because Ezra did learn something. Ezra did learn that, you know what, he is better off staying with his new family besides being like Hondo, where, you know what, it could be fun, no responsibilities or that, but at the same time though, he might be alone and, well, not that well off and happy.
yeah, and even Chopper knows his line, and
Yeah,
Chopper doesn't say anything.
yeah, but it was a very good way to end this episode, in my opinion, and this is what to me saved the episode very much.
Same here. I mean, for me, this episode has been probably a good one, and yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so what's your rating on this episode?
Probably an 8 out of 10. The reason for this, guys, was because it was kind of crappy at the start, but it got a lot better when Hondo arrived.
Yeah, see, like I said, if it was somebody else besides Hondo, I would give it a 3, maybe a 4 out of 10. But because of Hondo, I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10. I should have given it a 7, but because how much Hondo was really well done here, and I really did like the relationship between Ezra and Hondo, I have to give it an 8 out of 10. But the thing is, though, you still could easily skip this episode if you want to. It has no effect whatsoever on the main plot. And that's a sad thing. This is a filler episode, but at least though, it's a good filler episode with some bad stuff sprinkled in here and there.
Yeah, so anyway, guys, that's basically our review for Brothers of the Broken Horn. So if you enjoyed this episode, please, or our review, and enjoyed the episode, so please give a like, comment, and subscribe for more reviews like this. Star Wars The Force Awakens news, the review for the movie, or any other Star Wars stuff, what we pull out on this channel. And anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.